All right. So, assuming that this is not lying to me, we are live. We have made it here for another day in this new year. I think this is our first stream of the new year.
It
So,
is.
Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome. We have made it another 365 days, some way, somehow.
Oh, hold on. You got a reverb happening.
I do.
Is that on my end?
I don't hear it. If you guys are watching, do you guys hear echo?
Because I can hear our conversation happening let me just make sure I don't. Oh, you know what? That is me.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm about to say,
Because
don't know.
cause I had, for some reason, the second you started going live, the link in our chat just started playing. And so I had it,
Oh.
I was hearing its noise. I went to bed at 2 in the morning, everybody, so this is my life today.
Jeez. Much respect. Couldn't be me. Cause no, I'm not. I'm one of those people where some people are like super proud of the fact, like I can run my whole life off of like 3 hours of sleep. That is great for you, baby doll. If I do not get at least seven, I am an absolute terror to everybody in my life who knows
Mm-hmm.
me, and I'm okay with that fact. I just need rest, you know.
Right.
But
Uh, yeah, that's me. It wasn't by choice. It was one of those, anxious brain going, let's see what we can think about right now.
like right this second.
Have you called your mom? Did you pay that bill? How are you doing with your writing goal? Like, it was just a bunch, but I'm happy to be here. Happy New Year, Chelsea.
Happy New
How are you
Year,
doing?
Miranda. I am making it slowly but surely. So far so good. I have been super productive, so I'm gonna take a minute to talk about me, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
So, if you guys follow me on the internet, basically, I started a podcast. um, so that's been interesting, fun, um, kind of wild because I posted about it on Instagram this morning, but I have never done something where it's just me. Like I am not that person. Like even with this, I streamed with Amanda. And the first time I did the stream by myself, I was just like, I don't know what to say. I'm here by myself. What am I supposed to do? So that was interesting to say the least. But I did it, and I'm actually really proud of myself. And people have been messaging me and like mentioning the podcast to like other people and sharing it on social media, which has been really really dope. I wasn't expecting that kind of like reception, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I'm just really excited about it. Not gonna lie. And if you guys see the chat adjusting, it's because I'm over here adjusting the settings so that it fits where it's supposed to. But yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Congratulations on starting this
Yeah.
podcast and, going forth and putting your little octopus tendrils out in the world
That
on some
octopus!
Issa Rae, get you some multiple streams of income. This is going to be wonderful, and I'm so proud. It's queued up for me to listen to today.
Okay.
I couldn't do it yesterday, but I'm going to listen to it today. So,
I hope you like it. I hope if anybody watching this decides to go listen to it, you guys enjoy it. Also, shout out to JC Henry. She was the first one here. I'm assuming she. Please let me know if it's wrong. If I'm wrong pronoun, let me know what your pronoun is. But I'm pretty sure it's she. She was here first. Emma is here. Ash Writes Lots is here. And yeah, if you guys give it a listen, I talked about protecting your creative energy. It's really short. I don't do. I know I'm long winded on YouTube. I'm not on the podcast. The podcast is only like 10 minutes. There's another episode dropping tomorrow, so I'm dropping 2 episodes a week on Wednesdays and Fridays. Wednesdays, I'll just be honest. Those are the days where I'm going to be talking more so about the topics that I want to discuss. I could tell you, since you guys are on the live stream, that next Wednesday I am dropping a book review, like an in-depth book review of The Kindred by Alicia Dow. I did a mini one on TikTok, but
oh,
I wanted to actually talk about it. So pros, cons, the neutral things, everything you probably want to know about the book before picking it up. That's coming out Wednesday. And then on Fridays, I have a segment on the podcast that I'm calling Chelsea's Corner. And that's literally just what I do here, just in a more concise format where I'm sharing my ups, downs, and struggles with coming out with my book, being an indie author, so on and so forth. Just kind of like what's going on in my world type situation. All of the episodes are short. They're going to be short because I realize when I'm talking to myself, by myself, in a room, to a mic, to an imaginary audience, I ain't got a lot to say, and I can say it very concisely. So, that's that. And yes, I was right. She, her. So, yes. Thank you guys for supporting. That means, like, legitimately the world to me. So, but that was me. That's what I've been working on in 2022. Also, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I also made a Discord server this morning for the after chat. So the Melanin chat comes back next week. You guys know that. I've mentioned it. And the after chat is the Patreon exclusive discussion that we have after the Melanin chat. I made a Discord server for it, and I have been discussing with some of the patrons some Twitter drama that I came across. And I was also, there's also a place for just like general community.
Fill my cup, Chelsea. Fill my cup. I'm not out of the loop on this Twitter drama.
I will share it, but if you guys want the continual Twitter drama, please sign up for the Patreon. I know it's behind a paywall type thing, but it helps support me, and it helps support the Melanin Library, which is, believe it or not, very expensive to keep running. But I want it to continue to be free for everyone who wants to use it, because if you're looking for a book by a Black author, I feel like you should be able to find a book by a Black author very easily. But that being said, one of the things that I came across was just, there was an interesting interaction between a white author and a person of color. Her profile picture is Black, but I don't want to just assume that for her. Right. And basically, the question was a very lighthearted question that somebody posed on Twitter, which was basically, I could pull it up for you. I don't even have to imagine what it said. Just give me like 2 seconds to pull it up, and I'll tell you exactly what they said, because I'm not gonna say the white author was out of pocket, but it was one of those things where it's like, whenever this question comes up, it's literally one person can kind of ruin it for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So the question was, cisgendered heterosexual people writing bi and gay characters acceptable? Because my characters tend to tell me their sexuality and I can't really control it. And it was a laughing emoji. I'm assuming you did that because you probably saw the tweet.
I saw the tweet and was like, wait a minute, you don't mean cisgender, you must mean straight, because cis is... I'm cis, but I'm bisexual, like...
Yeah. And she corrected herself in the comments. And she was like,
good.
Oh, sorry. I meant to say straight, you guys. Thank you for correcting me. I put the wrong thing. But, so... I added the part about heterosexual because that's what she meant. But yeah, that's what the tweet said. And this white author said, of course it's acceptable. Can single people write married people? Can women write men? Can humans write elves? Can adults write children? Yes, it is. End of discussion. And while I will say this, I don't disagree with her in the sense of, you absolutely can write a book about elves. And you absolutely, if you're not married, you can absolutely write a character who is. But let me go through the thread and then I'll give you my opinion on it, right? So Ellie, that's her handle, responded. It was like, maybe you should be very in tune with what it's like to be in those communities. Writing married couples as a single person, etc., is very different from writing about and of the viewpoint of a marginalized group. I can tell immediately if a queer person was written by someone cis-het. There is no, yes, this is ours too, and we can write this, end of discussion, with marginalized groups. You do a lot of research and hire a sensitivity reader afterwards who knows their stuff. I agree with her. If you're going to do it, do your research. Marginalized communities are marginalized. Therefore, they don't have a voice. And if you're going to take on the responsibility of becoming that voice, you need to know what the fuck you're saying. So.
Exactly.
But then she responded, and this is why I said she was kind of making a fool of herself on the interwebs. She was like, sorry, it's fiction. You want to write a unicorn? Do it. You want to write a man? Do it. You want to write an assortment of sexualities? Do it. Yeah, that's the discussion. And it's just the entitlement for me because
Right.
while I don't disagree that you should be able to write things outside of what you know, like if you are single, absolutely you should be able to write a married couple. But however, you shouldn't go around writing a marriage therapy book if you've never been married and you're not a therapist. There's no amount of research that you're going to be able to do to warrant giving that kind of advice when you're single and you're not a registered therapist who is qualified
Right.
to give that kind of advice. And so my take on it is, and if you guys have been on the channel, I have spoken on this before, and I will stand by what I say, but I will say it very clearly. I think, and this is referring to non-black people writing black characters because that's the only experience that I can speak to, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine with you writing a black character. I'm fine with you having black characters in your book. Obviously, you should. Diversity is necessary and needed. No offense to anyone who wrote a book post 2000, but nobody wants to read a book with an all white cast. That's just not
Right.
what we're trying to do at this day in this day and age. Nothing wrong with that, right? But my stance is if you are a non-black author, I personally I personally do not want to read a book where that black character is the main character and it is based in a world that we currently live in dealing with microaggressions, macroaggressions, racism of all type, and you are trying to sell it to me as an authentic experience when you've never lived that life. That is my personal thing, and also because
Right.
as a black person, I have spent the first 25 years of my life reading nothing but books by white authors. So I'm at a point in my life where if I see a black character, I'm hoping and praying that it's written by a black author so that I can get the representation that I didn't have for the first 25 years of my life. So if you're coming into that
Right.
space, I just want you to be respectful of it. But and one of the things that I will I don't care for is if you're writing a black character and they're in trouble and their first response is to call 911, and when the police arrive they feel safe. That is not a realistic reaction for any black person living in America. I'm not talking about black people living in other countries and other spaces because that's not something that I can speak to myself. But in America, I have yet to meet a black person who's like, if something happens to me, call the police. Maybe call an ambulance, maybe call a fireman. Otherwise, handle it yourself. That's just the
Right.
reality of things. So, that's my take on it. That was kind of long winded. I apologize.
No, you're good. I agree. I also can we also talk about the propensity for people who are okay. Recovering from the flu, so if I keep clearing my throat, everybody, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be like, listen to my point here. I can we talk about the propensity for people when they're making this point of authors should be able to write anything to compare writing marginalized groups, specifically black people and queer people, that with the experience of writing fictional like fantasy characters. Well, if you can write an elf, you can write a black person. Baby, it's not the same because black people are not these mythical, fantastical people and creatures.
They're not mythical.
Why do you
They
do
exist.
that? Like that to me shows how out of touch you are with black people and the black experience. I absolutely think that you know, my thing is always if you're going to include I think that yes, you should be able to include people of other cultures in your book, and you should, and other sexualities. If you are deciding for that to be your main character, um, your main character being somebody that is not you, I would take some time to wonder why you feel that you should write a story with a black MC if you are not black. Now, let's also there's levels to it, right? If it's pure fantasy and then they are black and there's no issues of racism and things like that in the story, I feel a little bit less questionable about it. But if you're like like the guy who wrote Lovecraft Country,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Like he's a white author and the story is full of black characters. And I think that it seems very well researched. I think that okay. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the story was then handled by Black creatives when it came to the show. But I think generally that's kind of the exception, not the rule. And I think that
That part.
you have to hire sensitivity readers. And even me, right? Like, so like I said, I'm bisexual, but and the story that I'm writing now has more queer characters than my series. I'm actively going and looking and making sure that my queer friends are going to be reading this book as well, because my experience as a bisexual woman is not the same experience as somebody who's a lesbian or somebody who's gay or somebody who's non-binary or somebody who's trans. And so even within a marginalized group, there's still not one, we're not a monolith, and one voice doesn't speak for everything. So if I was going to write a book and I'd say I wanted the character to be from the Caribbean, I would make sure that I had somebody read that was from the Caribbean, because I don't know that experience.
Exactly. And you said multiple things that I agree with. And also, quick aside, Read Love Listen is here. Hey, how you doing? Barrett is here.
Hey.
He is over on Twitch, and he said he's here for the tea. Also, is that your story to tell? That is a good question for us to ask, and also pay the sensitivity readers for their emotional labor, because I can't tell you how many folks on AuthorTube have asked me to read their story to check on their gay character. That part, that part. Mm-hmm. You have to respect the time and energy of the people who are doing this for you, but also recognize that one thing that I like that you said is that one person in a minority cannot speak for the entirety of that minority. So even me as a Black person who lives my life as a Black woman, right? Mm-hmm. There's still certain aspects of it that I cannot write about, speak to, because that's not my lived experience. We all only have one lived experience, and I would never try to put my stamp of approval on, okay, yes, this is good Black lit. If you're talking about living in subsidized housing within the city, with, little access to money and in a one-parent household. That is not my lived experience. I cannot tell you if it is authentic or not. You need to find someone who is. And just picking a random Black person off the street or a random gay person, if you're writing queer characters, and just saying, hey, read this, but they said it was okay. That's not the point. And there is a level of nuance to this that I feel like some authors just want to glance over because one person somewhere said that it was okay, or their author friends who want to be encouraging said go ahead and write the story. And I feel like there needs to be an understanding that there are definitely going to be people in your world who are going to encourage you. That is literally their job. That is their role in your life, to encourage you to do things. But you also need people who are going to tell you, hey, baby doll, that's not a good idea. I think you should maybe take a step back, or just let it go. It's just my thing. My thing is always going to be, going back to what you said, let's evaluate why you want to tell this story. If you are a heterosexual, cisgendered white man, why do you feel the need to tell the story of a 16-year-old Black queer girl? Let's discuss that. That's just, I'm not saying you can't. I would just like to know why. And then you brought up Lovecraft Country, and I think something else that people forget when that comes up in conversation is that at the time that book was written, there were not a lot of Black authors in the publishing space, and they're in this fight, the thing where we've been trying to get equality has been going on for a long time. This is not something that just happened in 2020 with George Floyd and the riots. That was the tipping point. That's the tip of the iceberg. That's where people really got mad, okay? It is not, something that just started last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And at one point, yes, you did need white authors to write marginalized characters if they were going to appear in books. But that is not the world and time and age that we're living in currently. And for everyone who has that thought in the back of their head, where they say it or not, where it's just like, well, I want to help this community. And this day, time and age in 2022, you would be helping more by taking a step back and pushing someone else who has that lived experience to the forefront than taking that space yourself. Because it's just the reality of it. Not saying that your story is bad, not taking away from your talent as an author, not saying that you're incapable of writing a life and experience authentically that you didn't live. No one is saying that. We're saying that if your reason for doing all of this, your motivation is to help, sometimes the best way to help is to give the spotlight to somebody else.
Exactly. To yeah, your platform would probably be better used purchasing a book by a marginalized author, reading the book, leaving a review, telling your friends about it, you know, putting a picture of the book on Bookstagram, putting a review on social media, um, talking about it, seeing if you have a platform. Hey, I'd like to do an interview with you. Put that person on. You know, I do agree with you about having yes people surrounding you, because I don't think that that's helpful. It's very helpful to have people around you that will be honest with you and not. I think a lot of people are afraid of honesty, and I think that that's
Oh yeah.
because they've had people in their life who have been like, I don't sugarcoat shit. I'm not Willy Wonka, and who just are more committed to being
I'm sorry.
brutal
You said I'm
than
not Willy
to
Wonka.
being
That took me
honest.
out. I'm sorry.
But I think there's a way to be honest with somebody that is very direct, but that is not rude. And I think you need people around you that are going to be like, this ain't it.
You can be honest without being mean, and you can be honest without being rude, and honesty does not have to be brutal. You choose to make it brutal with how and when you say something to someone, and being like, I don't sugarcoat things is not an excuse for you being straight up disrespectful to someone and expecting not to get a rise out of them just because you foreshadowed it by saying, I believe in brutal honesty. Well, guess what? Take your brutality
Right.
somewhere else because I don't need it. But that's just me.
Exactly. And I bet this person who commented on the Twitter, I just have a real issue when people are like, end of discussion. I'm not discussing this anymore. When it's like, well, first of all, you're in a position of privilege in this conversation by being like, yes, I as a white, I'm presuming straight, or not part of this marginalized group,
Not
I
part of the
say that
marginalized
we
group.
can do this, so therefore we can do it, and you need to just stop talking. Because to me, it's giving, I don't give a shit about other people. It's giving privilege. It's giving, I'm going to write what I want to write, and then therefore your representation is not going to be where it's at. Because to me, that says that you're not going to listen to anybody if they tell you that you're wrong. You're not going to hire sensitivity readers. You don't have anybody in your corner of that marginalized group, because if you did, you would at least have some inkling of why it might not be a good idea for you to be the one to provide that representation.
And I'm glad that you said that because, and I swear, you guys, we are actually going to get to writing. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but, but I will definitely say this. I agree with you because I feel like for me with this tweet, I agree with everything that you just said, and it's the entitlement and the reality that in my experience, okay, understand that I say this from a very limited perspective because it's my perspective, okay, that the people
Mm-hmm.
who speak like this don't have people in their life who are involved in the people that they're not concerned about offending. So if you're not concerned about offending the black community, you don't have any black friends. If you're not
Right.
concerned about offending the LGBTQ community, you don't have any friends who are part of that community because you wouldn't even have this stance if you did. If you did, you would understand where this other person is coming from and you wouldn't just be like in a discussion. And in the beginning, you wouldn't you wouldn't have even said in a discussion or compared them to mythical creatures. That's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing them to mythical creatures, like people are not griffins. Okay, we're not talking about some magical creature out of J.K. Rowling's world. Okay, or anything that you made up, or unicorns, or what is Pegasus? The flying horse. Whatever.
Right.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about actual people living in this actual world who have actual experiences, who experience actual oppression that you are actively oppressing. You're still actively oppressing them. Like, take a step
Right.
back, see outside of yourself.
Yeah, and saying single people can write, married people, all that, but like, boo boo, that's a state of being. Like, you could be single and then you could be married.
That's like
Being
an adult.
single and married, yeah,
Sorry.
having a child, not having a child are not the same as being marginalized, as being black, as being other people of color, like as being queer. It's not the same. It's not a choice. You choose to be married. Okay? Like,
That
We
part.
didn't choose to be black.
Or
Though if I had to choose, I would still choose to be black.
oh yeah, absolutely. I would still be
But
black.
we did, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a choice. So it just rubs me the wrong way. But we could talk about this tea all day, honestly.
Absolutely. So we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to read some of the comments because as we were having this discussion, I didn't read them. Starting over on YouTube, Ash Wrights Lot said, I like the clarification of what would be acceptable when writing black characters as a non black person. Fantasy seems to be the only real option as long as race isn't involved. And I, there's nuance to it. There are levels to it. There's nuance
Right.
to it. And honestly, I feel like you can, with I grain of salt with what I'm about to say. I feel like as an author, you can do what you want to do as long as you are putting in the work and the effort to do it correctly and recognize and you think outside of yourself. Because what I don't believe as authors is that you lack the capability to think outside of yourself because you're literally writing books with characters that are not you. So you don't lack the capability. It's just that you are making the choice to care more about fictional characters than about real actual people living on this planet, and that's something that I cannot get behind. That's just me.
Right.
Read Love Listen said, I've seen black readers say that even within the U.S. Diaspora, there are different experiences: suburbs, urban, rural, religious, and spirituality. I saw some complain about some books that have come out in the last few years with YA black stories writing for the white gaze, or the black main character being basically a magical Negro on sacrifice trope, and or having self-hatred. That's, if you watch the channel at all, I'm not going to get into it right now, but I have talked about this a lot in the previous Melanin chats. And my biggest gripe, and this is not a dig at the author at all, because I support all black authors. Like Issa Rae, I'm rooting for everybody black, straight up. Right. But at the same time,
Same.
that doesn't excuse you from criticism. And one of the reasons I did not like A Blade So Black, and why I can't get into a lot of YA fiction, especially the ones that came out around 2019, 2020, where they were really pushing the magical black girl, is because the magical black girl had no magical black friends. She had no magical black family. She had no one surrounding her, and she was not in love with any person of color. And that is not the experience for a lot of people that I personally know. And so sometimes it's frustrating, especially like I have that experience of walking into a room and being the only black person there. I think as a black person in America, we all have an experience like that. However, I do not live in that experience, okay? I go home and I'm around my black family. I hang out with my black friends. I go to my black church, okay? There are other black people surrounding me. And in the YA books, it just used to really bug me, and still kind of really bugs me, that it's like they take this character who wasn't black, and then they put her in this scenario and that would sell, and then they make her black to acquiesce the social change that's happening. It doesn't feel right. Authentic. But I'm not going to get into that right now. If you want to know, check out the Melanin Chat next week. Comes back Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, I mean, I have a video on my YouTube channel as well where I talk about 4 toxic tropes, and one of the tropes is a magical minority. I'm not just touching on it as it relates to black people. I'm touching on it as it relates to indigenous people and Asian people and all that, because that stereotype, I mean, it's Mr. Miyagi, it's Pocahontas, it's all of these people who are the magical minority. So Amanda the author, check it out. 4 toxic tropes you should avoid writing.
There's a link in the
that
description
can help you
box.
Writers if you're looking, you know. And yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if as an author, you don't do it alone. You need a community. And if you are writing a story that is not about your experience, obviously you do your research, try to learn, watch YouTube, maybe talk to other people, and then try to find readers who are from those places. You know, I'm California born and raised. I lived in Atlanta for a while, so I have just a bit of experience being in the South and being around people that were born and raised in the South, so that has influenced my writing experience. Mm-hmm. But even so, the book I'm writing, it takes place in Savannah. I'm still going to have my friends who live currently in the South read the book, because maybe I got some things wrong, and that's okay. you could get things wrong, and that's okay. It's just about being willing to change and listen to other people, because like nobody's perfect. I'm gonna mess things up. Mine and Chelsea's experience are completely different, but that's why you surround yourself with good people who are going to be honest with you and want to see you succeed. And if they tell you, like, let it go, just listen, baby doll. It's going to be okay.
That's it. That's all we're asking is for you to listen, and you're going to get it wrong. Everybody gets it wrong. Nobody is perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to offend somebody. It doesn't matter if you do everything right. You hire all the sensitivity readers. You do all the research. You're going to offend somebody. That's the nature of the game. It's art. Art is offensive in and of itself, but also you it's the intention behind it, and it is the willingness to grow from it. And when you're not, it reads all over your work, in your face, and what you're doing, that you're not willing to. JC Henry posed the question: is it possible to write something that doesn't reflect our world in some way? No, because you live here. That's kind of how I feel. Even when you're creating fantasy, there are certain things that you're just going to take for granted. One of the best examples that I can think of is gravity. You're just going to assume that you naturally stay on the planet and it's at a certain weight or whatever that you can move around comfortably. You're going to assume naturally that there's an indoors and an outdoors because that's how you live your life. You sleep somewhere, and then there's the rest of the world. There are certain things that you're just going to naturally assume because you exist in this world, in this universe. So I think there are a lot of elements that you can actively take out, and I think there are a lot of elements that you can actively avoid, but you can't just, I don't think you can remove all the bias and all the everything that you experience in the world, because at the end of the day, you're telling a story from your lived experience. If you're not pulling from that, you don't have anything to pull from. And it's hard to create from a straight up blank page where you're like, I'm not taking anything from what I've lived. I'm not taking anything from what I've experienced. I'm not taking anything from what I've done, but I'm going to create. That's my 2 cents on that.
I agree.
Okay. And yeah. Also, shout out to Read Love Listen, who said that she loved the video that Amanda referenced, which was the title of it one more time.
It was 4 toxic tropes to avoid in your writing.
Yes. I knew that, but I also was going to say toxic magical. I was going to combine toxic tropes and magical black person. I'm not good with titles. I don't even remember the names of my own titles. That's why everything is Melanin something.
Well, I mean, I talk about the magical minority trope.
Magic minority. There we go.
Yeah, the magical minority trope. I talk about the cool girl trope, or the not like the other girls trope. I talk about the white savior trope. Funny stories that even Healthline has a whole entire ass article against white saviorism in healthcare specifically. So I feel like when a healthcare site is talking about it.
Okay.
And I also talk about the bury your gays trope as well. So check it out, everybody.
Gonna say this. Subscribe to Amanda. There is a link in the description box on YouTube for you to do that. If you are over on Twitch, you can just go to youtube.com and search for Amanda the author, and she will pop up. That being said, did you guys, my friend sent me an article of something that I didn't even realize, but do you realize that when you read medical books, even in high school, basic medical books, there are no pictures of black people in it? You don't see black fetuses, you don't see black people, you don't see black pregnant women, you don't see, no, they're all white. And there is there's an African man who is making history because he is putting black people in medical books to teach people about like basic medical procedures to help erase some of the bias and the idea that black women can just endure more pain than other people. But we're not going to get into that discussion because that really is a long one, and we have been on the stream for like 30 minutes and we haven't written yet. I'm so sorry. This was not supposed to be like this, I swear, you guys. But yeah, and also shout out to Barrett. He's over on Twitch, so you guys can probably see his comments on the chat as they came through. But when we were talking about the authors, obviously, he said it's that they want to write a story that stands out, not necessarily that the representation was natural to the story. And that's the thing that we got to get away from, is just adding minorities to your book to be diverse. We are not sprinkles that you just add on top of a finished work to be like, okay, now it's done. That's not how it works. And for anyone who's interested in the tweet, I didn't respond to it, but you can just search for @paranormaljunk2. It is her tweet. I don't believe in blocking out names, just so y'all know. I don't believe in that. Unless you're my friend and I'm just trying to address the situation directly, but also indirectly, I ain't finna... I'm not finna block out names, okay? It's @paranormaljunk2 on Twitter. And you can just see the whole thread. And then I'm gonna just drop the @. Would that help? I'll just drop the @ in the chat. And you guys can check it out. Sorry for being messy, and if you did not come here for that.
I mean, I pulled it up. This is going to be something I'll look at later, the full thing.
So yeah, these are the 3 people involved in this comment or thread or whatever. Check it out. Enjoy it however you want. So, yeah. And Barrett found the thread. And the whole thread, I just picked out one of the worst ones that I saw, because this was at like 5:30 this morning, because I was just up for godforsaken reasons. But it's a whole thread of people responding, and some people are, I will say, mindful, and some people are not. So it's indulge at your own risk. It's Twitter, so if you know you need to stay away from that toxicity, I don't recommend you go look. If you're here for the mess, absolutely go find it. But yeah, Read Love Listen said, don't write a white character and then suddenly turn them black to make your diversity quota with no cultural references. Yeah, that part. Or I would even say vice versa. Like, I am all about equality. Don't write a black character and then just turn them white at a drop of a hat because you're trying to be traditionally published. That doesn't work either. But again, that's another conversation. If you guys want to hear me talk about all of this, check out the Melanin chat. That's where we're going to be having it. And if you want to see the unfiltered version of what I have to say, then you need to sign up for the after chat. Patreon. It's down there in the description box. That being said, let's actually get into some writing sprints. Oh, RC Scott is here. Hello, how you doing? It's 7 degrees in Chicago, and you work outside. Goddamn, I'm praying for you.
Man, oh yes.
Okay, sorry. Let's get into this. I think we're gonna be able to do like 2 sprints today because we talk so much. I'm so sorry, you guys. If you are on YouTube, I would be so grateful if you would hit the like button if you're watching this. That being said, Amanda, how are you? Where are you at? What are you working on today?
Well, Chelsea, I am working toward our deadline, which is 4 days away. I'm excited, nervous, all of those emotions. I am writing a scene where we're exploring more of the different characters' powers, one of whom has the power of persuasion, which is very creepy when you think about it. And my main character is kind of at the low point. It's that like false defeat situation where things are going bad and she kind of feels alone. And this is right before the big fight and final showdown scene. That's what I'm working on. How about you?
I am in the middle of this scene, and I'm gonna be honest with you, Amanda. Can we move the date back by like a week?
Yeah.
I did not want to be that person. I swear, and I'm all over TikTok being like, I did not want to be that person. But let me explain what had happened was. So I was so I was writing yesterday, and my initial goal was to hit 80,000 words for this novel, right? And I only have 10,000 words left, right? And I was writing it, and then I realized that I need like another 6 chapters, right? I just outlined the rest of the book, and I was like, I need another 6 chapters. That's not a lot. It doesn't sound like a lot in my mind, but these chapters are like 4,000 words a piece, and I'm like, that's more than 10,000 words. So based on that, I'm not gonna be done. I was like, I was gonna get done, come hell or high water. If you said we're gonna be the 11th, it's gonna be the 11th. But also, if we can move it back like a week, that would be lovely.
Yeah, we can move back to the 17th. Like I said, I'm just getting over the flu. Thought it was the Omegatron, but it wasn't. Like I told you earlier, so we could move it back because writing with a flu is a unique experience because words were just transient in my brain. They just kind of kept doing this thing.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if what I wrote is going to give what it was supposed to give because it could just be completely like two words that don't make sense next to each other. I don't know. So the 17th then would be our deadline.
Yes.
Okay.
We could talk about this because I'm actually not going to be in the state on the 17th. I'm going to be on a 20-hour road trip to Texas.
20 hours?
We're driving. So...
Are you driving and then immediately driving back? Wait, how long is that from you? Texas.
So we're in North Carolina, and so we're driving to Dallas.
Okay. Gotcha.
And we have an electric car. We have a Tesla. So that means that we have to stop about every 4 hours for about 45 minutes to an hour to charge, which is great for our budget, but time-wise, it takes about 20 hours to drive. We are leaving... The Melanin chat is on the 11th. We're leaving on the 12th. And we're not coming... And then we're coming back on the 17th. So, on the 17th, I will be in the car on the way back from Texas.
So, do you want to do the 18th, 19th, or the 20th?
Let's do the 20th. Because 17th we'll be back. 18th, I'm going to be dead. 19th, I can make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be so I can get it to you on the 20th. Does that work? That's
man.
2 weeks from today.
Girl, that just made me breathe a sigh of relief. I feel so good. It's just like I took my bra off, you know? That feeling of just relief. Where you're just like, ugh. Like, that's me right now.
We got this. Okay. Let me write this down. Okay.
Everybody's probably like, girl, stop talking about your deadlines. Just keep it going. I don't care. Good for you. We're sorry.
It's fine. You guys love hearing us talk, right? That's why you come here, right? So yeah. And she's pretending to. Are you actually typing the date down, or are you pretending to type?
No, I'm actually typing the date down.
I thought you were like, oh, you came here to see us type, so let me go ahead and start typing.
No, I don't have a notebook next to me. Otherwise, I'd write it in a notebook. No, I was typing the new date down so I can like look at what I have left to do and kind of plot out a plan.
Gotcha. That works for me. So with that in mind, I am on chapter 14. I have about 6 chapters left, so there are going to be 20 chapters. And I'm at the point where I did a TikTok. If you guys don't follow me on TikTok, you should follow me on TikTok.
Yep.
I wrote a scene where there's this side character who is in love with one of the main characters, and he's a whole thought out in the streets, and he just broke her back and her heart at the same time. And now the other character who is in love with him there's a reveal happening, I will say. And what I can say is that obviously the book is based on assassins. One of the main characters, she is a regular person. She is not an assassin. And so people are trying to kill her, and she doesn't know why. So I'm getting to the point where she's learning why there are so many people high up in power who want to see her dead. So that reveal also starting the catalyst kickoff point for her romance with the other character, but also getting the catalyst kickoff point for the last little third part of the story. So there are a lot of things being set up in this particular chapter, but I know once I get into it, it's just going to like keep going. So
right. I'm excited to read this. So let's get to writing. I'm gonna not fake type, you know that.
Okay.
So let's get to writing so we can you know, do sprints, what we came here to do.
Yes. So, for those of you who have been here for the discussion, we are actually about to start working. Also, there's this thing with Chill Hop. I can stream the music on Twitch. I cannot play it on YouTube, but since I'm simul streaming, I cannot play it unless I want another copyright claim on my channel, which I don't. So, grab your own music this time. And Read Love Listen, I see your question. We will answer it when we come back from the sprint. That being said, I hope you guys are productive, and we will talk in like 30 minutes. Happy riding.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys, that is it for that sprint. So check in with us. Let us know how you did, what you did, so on and so forth. And we will do the same. Emma Decker on it. She got 30 pages for that sprint. So, whoop, whoop. I mean, that's like a page a minute because it was a 30-minute sprint. So that's dope. I don't read that fast, but I respect it.
I got 550 words. I had written something and then kind of deleted it, so I think I would have gotten more, but that's still a pretty good amount. How about you?
Yeah. I got 610 words. And if you guys saw sunlight. Me, I mean, it looks really good, ma'am. Your skin is just like glowing.
It's just the sunlight is oof.
It came out of nowhere. I looked up and I was like, oh, she is bright. She's shining. Okay.
But need a hat or something.
I mean, if you want to grab something or adjust, I fully understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk. What'd you get?
Okay, I'll talk. You can adjust. But yeah, so I said this on my last sprint. I don't know if you guys were here for it. It was a solo sprint. But I got a new notebook, right? And it's been really helping me a lot because 2022, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to claim it. It's going to be my year. I'm going to do this, right? And so I've been trying to get organized because I don't have it next to me, but I have like this giant notebook, like this thick with like every idea that I've ever had since being an adult. And it was just getting full. So I got a separate notebook to organize my thoughts. And so I was over here, and I think I've talked to y'all about my journey with outlines and trying to get one and stick to it. And it's been helping a lot. So I don't know if anybody else does this, but I will send text messages to myself for things that I need to remember in the future when I'm not like near a notebook or I don't want to pull up my computer because I'm like shut down for the day. So I just got all of my notes from last night. Oh, excuse me. Organized. Ben reads my stuff. Like, he's the only person aside from myself who has read all the way up to the current chapter 14 of We Are the Origin. And so he left comments about stuff that he liked, things that he noticed that probably nobody else will notice, and things like that. So I went through his comments, made sure that everything was good, and then I got into it. I made a list of things that need to happen, which I don't know why nobody ever told me about this, but like, there's a beauty in just like sitting down and being like, okay, these are the things that need to happen in this chapter, and then not thinking beyond that. Like, I don't know. Outlines don't have to be this big, ginormous, humongous thing that you do at the beginning. Like, it can really, like, I have 3 bullet points on this side of the page, and then I have another 3 on the other side of the page because most of my chapters are broken down into 2 scenes, and each of those scenes is about 2,000 words. So I'm like, if I have 3 things that I can focus on and know one thing needs to flow into the next, needs to flow into the next, needs to flow into the next, it makes things so much easier for me. And nobody ever mentioned that when they were talking about outline, and they were always talking about you need a template and you need questions and you need a structure and you need organization and you need to buy an expensive notebook with all the pins and the stickers and the tabs. And baby doll, my head does not work that way. So
yeah,
that's where
that's
I'm at.
A lot.
But it's been working for me.
Yeah, my whole thing, I mean, you know, I'm a plotter. My whole doing whatever works for you, because what works for me won't. And the way my anxiety is set up, if I'm not doing what works for me, I'm not going to get anything done because I'm going to be so focused on trying to improve the system that I'm not going to focus on the writing.
Same. And my attention span is that of a goldfish on steroids, okay? It doesn't exist. All right? So
not a goldfish on steroids.
Literally. That's part of the reason why I have had to so intentionally like set a schedule and make time to do things, because I will start things like, ooh, this is so fun. I don't like it no more. And that's why before the podcast that I had to restart the podcast, because when I first started it, I was like, ooh, this is so fun. I don't want to do it no more. And then, you know, same thing with pretty much a lot of the other book ideas that I had that never like went anywhere. Fun fact, remind me to tell you if you're still up for it, because I know you're like kind of sick recovering. I told you about, and if you follow me on Twitter, I mentioned that I have a story about time traveling black girls who are just amazing, right? That idea has somewhat evolved, and I kind of want to tell someone about it. So if you have time, I might tell you about it after the stream. But I can't tell you guys on stream because it's still a brand new idea. So, but, but yeah, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. That light looks so good on you, ma'am. You look so pretty. Doesn't she look pretty, y'all?
Thank you.
She's killing it. But yes. Also to the comments. Let's see here.
I think we had a question from Read, Love, Listen. We were gonna address.
Yes. So let me run through the comments of what everybody got done, and then we'll answer the question. Cool.
Sure.
All right. Emma said that she's on Scribd, so she doesn't know if it's actually 30. That's fair. I have Scribd too. I like it, but I need to only have it because I keep forgetting to cancel it. That's how, monthly stuff works, right? Also, Read, Love, Listen. That's a good idea. I need to put all my notes in one notebook. Mine are on various notebooks, iPhone notes, and random. I will be organized this year and put it in one notebook or on Scrivener. I have 4 notebooks. I have one major notebook that's over there that has everything in it. It has ideas, it has plot bunnies, it has I was inspired by this movie on this day and I came up with this idea. I don't know if it's going anywhere. It has everything. This notebook that I just got is purely for We Are the Origin and its sequel. All the character stuff, all the side character stuff, like there's a character, like I told you, I think I said at the beginning of this stream, that she's like in love with the main character, but she got her heart and her back broken. Like all of her information is in here so that I don't forget. Like she's not important enough for me to make a whole character profile for, but there are basic like defining traits of what she looks like that I have in here. And that's basically how I've been keeping organized. So once the book is important enough, it gets its own notebook. So like I have another tiny notebook over here, if I can get it out of the drawer, that is for keeping promises. So this one, I use Tool notebooks, by the way, and it's just like full of sticky notes and tabs and stuff like that. So, but once it's done, it goes in the drawer and I don't do anything about it anymore. And I just use my headphones out my ear because I'm not smooth like that. I'm not a smooth criminal.
I have a notebook for each project, and then I have one master notebook for like the marketing and business side of writing. I think if I blend it all together, it would be too overwhelming. So I have the, business, marketing, learning notebook that I have all these different tabs on, and then each project has its own notebook, except my series, which I've been kind of using the same notebook because it's a series. So I use like a whole notebook.
And my like business stuff, I keep on OneNote. I don't even have a physical notebook for that just because it's too much stuff. I have a notebook for everything. So like the Melanin Library has its own notebook. The Melanin Chat has its own notebook. The Melanin Chat, Melanin Library, everything. My books, like actual learning stuff, publishing stuff, all of that is in a separate note. I use OneNote, totally free, completely organizable, colors, all of that. I love it. I swear by it. I think everybody should use it, but that's just me. But I'm not an evangelist, so look into it if you want. But that's what I use. Also, let's see here. Wasted about 2 hours the other day looking for a template, downloading Scrivener, watching a tutorial until I was like, all right, F this, just gonna outline in a Google Docs like I usually do. I feel that in my spirit because templates are the death of me because I don't like templates. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not gonna do it. It doesn't matter if it's just a sheet of paper. I got control issues. But that being said, the question that we got earlier from Read, Love, Listen was, how often do you write? And also Luthaza's here. Hey, how you doing? Welcome. You didn't miss us. We're still here. So welcome. Glad you can make it. Also, Mike is here. Mike from the Discord. He is here. Thank you for showing up for us, Mike. And also Better Days. Hello, how you doing? Welcome. But yes.
Hello.
How often do you write? My brain is everywhere, Amanda. So if I'm talking too fast, can't keep up, just tell me about myself.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. See, that's why we're friends, because our brains work on the same wavelength pretty much most of the time. So don't worry about it. I don't write every day. And I think a lot of people might be surprised just because of like my output. Because in the last 2 years, I've written um, two, almost three whole books plus a short story for an anthology. So I don't write every day. I wouldn't say I'm a mood writer. I make it a point to write most days of the week, but generally I don't, because I've had full-time jobs, I've got a YouTube channel, I have so much going on that if I don't want to overwhelm myself. And part of my self-care and what I've learned about myself is that I can't do it every day. And so usually I write most days. I'd say 5-6 days of the week. And I start with 25 minutes, and if all I get is a 25-30 minute sprint and whatever words come out, that's great. I still wrote. And if I get to spend a whole day or multiple hours writing, then I'm happy. But the system has worked for me and my life, and so, and I've written novels and published shit, so, you know, it can work if you don't write every day.
I agree. I write like 3 times a week, but when I do write, it is always for like multiple hours. So I'm doing the stream now with you guys, and also I stream by myself on Mondays at 1 p.m. same time. And like the last stream that I did, it was like 4 hours because I needed to get my words done. So that entire time I was writing. And then like here, obviously, you know, we didn't do a whole lot as of yet because we were mostly talking, but also, you guys know that normally in the streams we're actually getting the words in.
Right.
But then I also have a day where I'm just like in my own zone. Usually that day comes around like Friday sometime when I'm just like tired of being present on the internet. I'll usually disappear for a little while. So TikTok is an interesting place. But I made a TikTok yesterday just so my account stays active. But it's just like literally, I don't get on social media. I don't do anything. The most you guys will see of me is the stream. But I've also learned that, like Amanda, if I have a lot of other things that I do, you guys. So running the Melanin library is a whole task. I really need to hire somebody to do it, but I ain't got no coins. So running the Melanin library, staying active on social media, and also trying to do, you know, the streams and then writing the book, and then also like trying to network with people so that I'm actually doing what I want to do, which is uplifting Black authors. So like reading their books, doing book reviews, posting about their books on Instagram, so on and so forth. That takes a lot of work. And then also I run a Discord server and 2 different Patreons. So I'm just trying, I have a lot of things that are doing, right? So I don't write every day, but when I do sit down and write, I do try to make it a point to get, at this point, 2,000 words. Before, it was like I wanted to sit down and get like 500 words, and I've worked my way up where it's a reasonable expectation of myself to get at least 2,000 words every time I sit down to write. I'm trying to stretch that to 3,000. That way, every time I sit down to write, I'm getting an entire chapter, or at least most of a chapter done.
Right.
But that's something that comes with not allowing myself to get up. Also, side note, I don't know if you guys saw me laughing at myself and being like, oh gosh, I updated my Dabble. So with the date or whatever that me and Amanda just chose, and the days off that I'm gonna have to take, and they were like, oh, cool. And then I also changed the word count. So originally it was just 80,000 words. I changed it to 100. And they were like, cool, so you need like 4,442 words today to stay on track. And I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Ooh. I need to go through and reevaluate my word count and stuff like that too, because I don't even know how many words. Last I checked, I was at 63,000, and I'm trying to get 80,000 or over 80,000 with this book. But I have to update. And there's still so many sections that I have left to like add more shit here that now I can go back and do since we've updated our deadline.
I am at a point where like I want to make sure that what you're getting is going to be as close to the final version as possible, but I already know that there are certain things that I'm going to have to go back and fix. Like I have a notebook, I have a section in my OneNote notebook that's like notes to future Chelsea for corrections. And it's just like, I know, like, in this chapter, I'm going to have to do this. In this chapter, I'm going to have to do that. And it's not that it's bad, but it's like, you know, like, you're like, this isn't bad, but I could do better, but I'm not going to spend time on this right now. That's
Right.
kind of where my brain is at. And also just, like, some consistency things, because this is my first time writing a fantasy. And so the major plot makes sense, but I want to make sure, like, the little details make sense. So I know that this one guy, his nickname is Bert. I forgot what his actual name was, and it's in some notebook on some random page, either digitally or written down. But I was like, I am not going to go look at it. So he got a new government name, so I have to make sure that matches, stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah. I feel you. I think so. You know, this book has burlesque dancing in it, and so some of the hard parts have been trying to figure out choreography for dancing, and I didn't realize that I would need to do that. But if I'm featuring a dance number, I can't just be like, they shimmied, they moved their hips, they took off their clothing, and then that's it. Like, it has to be a thing. So
Yeah.
part of this whole research process has been me watching. I mean, I like to do like dance video workouts too, but it's been me just, as I'm brushing my teeth, just figuring out dance steps and shit. Just
You know who you should get
always
in touch
dancing around
with?
my house.
You should get in touch with Tristan in the Discord server. He actually did professional dance for a while. So you should get in touch with him. And he has, I know in the stuff that he's written, he did dance, but I know he also did it in college. So you should get in touch with him to see if he can help you out.
I just wrote that down. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point of having the network, right? So that we can like call on each other and ask each other for help and tips, because I don't think we would have connected as much as we have if it wasn't for the server. So that being said, if you are Black and you write and you want to be part of our Discord server, let us know. Portia Dean's also part of it. Mike's a part of it. Audra Russell, who's with me on the Melanin chat, she's also a part of it. Obviously, me and Amanda are a part of it. And it's just a community Antoine Bandele is a part of it. So, and it's just a community of Black writers. We all do different things. So, like, before I started writing fantasy, I was doing legitimately everything else. But yeah, you know, everybody writes something different. Everybody brings something different to the table, but that's the purpose of having the table, right? Potluck. It doesn't help if everybody's bringing chips and dip. All right? Somebody got to bring something to eat. So, I don't know where I was going with that.
I haven't had a potluck in forever. I'm hungry. Sorry. You just made me hungry. I was like, chips and dip.
I'm sorry. I don't do potlucks anymore. After okay, so there was a moment, and if she watches this video, she's gonna know that I'm talking about her. But know that I do it in love. There's gonna be an unnamed person, and for reasons I am not going to name because they would be too identifiable, we were on a Zoom call together with other people, and while said other people were talking, she was in her kitchen. And she was just, you know, moving around, normal stuff. And while she was moving around the kitchen, she had a tub of sour cream in her hand. I didn't pay much attention to it, okay? And while the other people were talking, I was listening, hee hee, ha ha, everybody's having a good time. But then I see her take a scoop, and she eats it. And I was like, pause. No, everybody be quiet. We're going to address this right now. And I was like, darling, sweetheart, did you just eat sour cream like it's ice cream? What is happening? And she was like, no, I was just tasting it. And then she demonstrated how she got a scoop out like ice cream. She licked it, and then she put it back in the container. That face. And all of that to say that potlucks no longer appeal to me. I don't want it. If it didn't come from my house, you can keep it. I don't trust people at all. She licked it. And then she put it back in the container. But it was sour cream. Why are you licking sour cream? Her reasoning was she wanted to make sure that it tasted fine, that it was safe to eat. And I'm like, it's sour cream. If it's bad, you will know when you open the container. It'll be green. It'll smell funny.
It just, it won't smell. There might be a little bit of liquid happening.
Yeah, it's gonna have like a film on it that's not supposed to be there. You don't have to lick it because no. So that's my potluck story and why I no longer want one. So yeah, I was just like, did you just put that back in the container? Okay. It's her sour cream.
I mean, hey man, if you like it, I love it. Black proverb there. If you like it, I love it.
It really is. Read, love, listen. I see you. DM me on Twitter. I think there's a link in the bio. Just get in touch with me because it is a private link, so I can't just drop it on the chat. So DM me on Twitter, Instagram, Tick of the Talk, whatever makes you happy. I don't know why YouTube does not have a way for you to privately get in touch with creators.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. That's just, I don't know what's up with that. I feel like that would be useful just for like collaborations. Like just being able to be like, we're going to do this at this time without having to go outside of the network, but whatever, what have you. Yeah. Nah, dog. Girl, get some squeezable sour cream and call it a day. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Let's just not talk about it anymore, you guys. That being said, you guys, we have been on this stream for 1 hour and 38 minutes. That is enough time to do one more sprint if you would like to, or we can call it here. Let me know how you feel. Just so you know, if this is your first time watching this sprint, this is not normal for us. We normally do 3 sprints. It's just we got into Twitter drama, and Twitter drama is a thing, and I apologize. But yeah. I'm kind of leaning toward we will try again next week. If you guys do want to sprint with me, I do. Like I said, I sprint Mondays at 1 p.m. So you can join me there. But I'm thinking that we're going to call it a day here.
It works for me. I got a YouTube video to work on. I'm coming back to YouTube after a hiatus, so I got to get that together so I can drop it today.
That sounds fun. I feel like I'm the opposite. If you guys have been on my channel, this is a fair warning update that outside of live streams, I probably will not be posting a whole lot more content. If you want content from me, for sure, check out my website, check out my Patreon, and check out TikTok. My website and TikTok
and the
are
podcast.
And the podcast. Yeah. The podcast is still brand new, so it's not on the list yet. But check it out. Yeah. That's where my content is going to be henceforth, only because I love YouTube and I love the community here, but also it takes so much work to make a YouTube video to the standards of quality that I want. And in 2022, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, I cannot commit to that with everything else that I'm doing and still write a book and still be mentally healthy. So something had to go, and that thing was YouTube. So I'm still going to be doing the Melanin chat. Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Still going to be streaming with Amanda. Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And streaming by myself, which is Mondays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's 3 streams a week and podcasts in between. So hopefully that's good for you guys.
Hey, that's still a lot of content. And, you should be proud of yourself. And you're still killing it. You're still killing it.
I'm trying. But that being said, I think this is going to be it for the video. If you're one of those amazing people who are still hanging around, please like this video. Would really appreciate it. It lets the algorithm know that you actually like me. Also subscribe to Amanda. There's a link to do that down in the description box below. If you want to read the prologue for We Are the Origin, you can read it for free on my website, writteninmelanin.com. It's literally on the homepage. Read it, enjoy it, tell me what you thought about it. If you hate it, please keep that to yourself. And then also, there are just links down there, you guys. I'll be back here on Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you guys come back for the Melanin chat. It's going to be so much fun. That's it. So, thank you guys for watching. And Read, Love, Listen, make sure you DM me on some social media platform, whichever one makes you happy. Just not Facebook. I ain't got that. So, that's that. Also, there are other streams. I don't have a link to them, but I know Barrett does one. I know Morgan Lee does them. And literally, if you just search writing streams, something will pop up. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for being here. And until next time, you guys, I hope your days are lovely and your books are interesting. Bye, you guys.